Well, the government has distanced the governor, that's the River State government now, has distanced the governor of the state, Siminialayi Fubara, from the reported proposal of 80,000 naira as minimum wage for civil servants in the state. Now, the disclaimer followed the media report on some social media platforms that the governor of the state had proposed to pay 80,000 naira as minimum wage to the workers. But in a media statement in the Port Harcourt on Friday, the chief press secretary to the governor, Nelson Chukwudi, decried the report as false. And according to Chukwudi, he hinted that the state has not taken the stand yet on how much the state would pay as minimum wage at the moment, and noting that government would take a decision in due course. With the whole minimum wage back and forth saga, I don't know if you're aware, but you would recall that the president has finally given an amount for the minimum wage, 70,000 naira. Although there were reports that the NLC are against it, but then yesterday we had reports that the NLC they're okay with it at the moment. They have okayed it, and according to them, it's because of some other incentives that are also included. But the governors, some governors are saying we cannot do more than 50,000 naira at the moment. And then there were reports about 80,000 naira from River State, which has been debunked now. What are your thoughts on all of this?
It's quite interesting. I read reports of on social media about the 80,000 naira minimum wage by the governor. The broader lessons for us is that in this era of misinformation, it's very important to get the right information from the right persons, so that you don't get misinformed. Misinformation can cripple a society, because you can imagine the social media space. A lot of people go out there and spread all kind of misinformation, and misinformation misleads people. And when people are being misled, they take the wrong actions. So I'm very happy that the government officials have stated that it is wrong. It is a wrong information. It's a false information. And to the question of state governors that find it difficult to implement the minimum wage, 70,000 naira, as a result of the capacity of their state and the strength of their state. Well, I think we should be fair to them. Each state have their own peculiar challenges, and their, for example, a good example is the IGR, the internally generated revenue. The internally generated revenue for a state like Lagos State is not the same for a state like Taraba State. Now, I've traveled across this country. I've been to many states in Nigeria, and if you travel and you discover that even their economies, there's differences. It's not the same. There is unique difference. And in terms of what they produce. But nevertheless, I think it's also important, because when we talk about minimum wage, it's a standard for the country. You can't have state A paying differently from state B. We're trying to see how we can have uniformity. When there is uniformity, there is organization.
Can we really have uniformity? Because you already talked about the IGR and the fact that we have different states with their different IGRs. Even the federal allocations to these states are not the same.
Well, I understand, but we're looking at the minimum wage.
Yes.
So we are trying to have some organization, some uniformity in the country, irrespective of the fact that states don't receive the same allocation, they don't have the same economic strength, they don't have the same internally generated revenue, they don't have the same population, the statistics and everything, the disparity and differences. We are looking at a minimum wage for Nigerians, for the Nigerian citizens that cut across the country, irrespective of tribe, states, economy, or whatever. Yes, in terms of their economic strengths, you observe there's differences, but it's up to the state governors to work together with the federal government to see how they can bridge the gap and implement the minimum wage. It is not too much for a Nigerian citizen to ask.
Implement the 70,000.
Yes.
So you actually feel that all the state governors can do that if they decide to?
If they have the political will, they can do it.
So it's not a matter of them not having enough funds to settle those bills?
Yes, if they prudently manage what they receive from the federation accounts every month, all the allocation they get, They can pay the minimum wage. 70,000 naira is what we're talking about
but when
here.
you started your analysis, if I heard you correctly, you were talking about the fact that they don't earn the same, the IGR not the same, and probably that could be a reason they might not be able to meet up with the 17,000 naira payment. Are you changing your stance?
No, I think to make it more clear, yes, they don't have the same IGR, they don't have the same allocation from the federation accounts, but the allocation they get from the federation accounts, if they prudently, judiciously spend the funds, they can pay the minimum wage of 70,000 naira. Now, look at how much is channeled towards political and governance or the politicians themselves. Look at the envoys. A single political appointee have a lot of special advisors, and that special advisor have his own personal assistants. So much of fats that needs to be cut off. Let's get to the bone and take off the fats. So if you take off the fats and get to the bone, you will discover that if they judiciously manage, spend the allocation they get from the federation accounts, they can take care of the 70,000 naira minimum wage, right? They can do that confidently. And if there is a shortfall as a result of the state economy, they can reach out to the federal government. That's where the federal government comes. The federal government, they are like the fathers. Right? They are the father of the nation. They are the mothers of the nation. So if your child, let's say you have 7 children, and they are not meeting up with their budgets, you gave them, the first one you gave 15 naira, you gave 20 naira, and they're not meeting up. It's the responsibility of the father to try to come in, right? To intervene. Then you can call it an intervention fund to help these other states that are not meeting up with the minimum wage. So the bottom line is if they have the political will, they can implement it.
But why does it look, just on the side now, why does it look like when states have issues with finance, the workers, the civil servants are always the ones who get to bear the brunt of that? Because that's the only time when you hear, oh, we cannot pay salaries. Oh, our purse is not so buoyant at the moment, so we cannot pay salaries. But you have paid some other salaries. And that's why Nigerians always keep pointing at the lawmakers and the political class and all of these advisors you have mentioned and all of these things. Why do we always have the civil servants who actually earn less? Talking about minimum wage now, some of them, not all of them do. But why are they the ones always having to bear that brunt?
It's a symptom of the society that we find ourselves, and it's also a priority problem. The political class and those in government, most of them don't see the importance of prioritizing the workers of the state of the country.
Let's look at the argument that has been going on with 50,000 naira.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's a priority problem. It's what you prioritize. If you prioritize the workers, the civil servants, that they are the backbone of the economy, they play a vital role, even as it relates to the implementation of government projects. They are the machinery that helps to engineer development in a society. And so you cannot take for granted such critical people in a society, the critical part of the society. So when they are agitating or when they are asking for their rights to be treated fairly, to be paid fairly, to be given a safe working environment to enhance their productivity and their outputs, so that you can have a functioning society where the workers, the government, everybody is working as a team, you see that such a state will do well and will move forward. In a situation where politician A or politician B or leader A or leader B does not see the importance of prioritizing the workers, you're going to have a dysfunctional or a collapsed, the pillars will be collapsing.
Okay, now we know that the workers have a union, all right? And if they feel like they've not been prioritized, there's a voice, they have a voice, that's what I'm trying to say. So do you think that the NLC have been doing enough in making sure that these workers will be prioritized in Nigeria?
To be fair, I think the NLC, they're trying their best. There's one thing to have a voice, there's one thing to speak, there's another thing to be heard.
You think they're not being heard? Come on, look at this one that they pulled
I will say that the NLC in this particular dispensation, I first started to be fair with them, they're trying, but I think they're not, it's just like when you back and you don't bite, in the context of, let me explain that later. When you say, oh, we want you to attend to this request that we need, this is for the interest of the workers, and then we're going to go on strike, that's the repercussions of not fulfilling the agreement we have, and the next day you call a strike for a few hours, and then you call it off, and they just look at you that, is this person really serious? Are you just doing it because you want something, or you're doing it for the collective interest of the workers? I remember several years ago in this same country, we used to have an NLC that was very active during the time of President Obasanjo in government. We had an NLC that was very active, that was really, really standing for the workers. To be fair to the leadership of the NLC, I think there is more that needs to be done. The workers of this country, we are faced with challenges, challenging moments that is very serious. It's not even as bad as it was far back when President Obasanjo was president. Now you can see the inflation, you can see the cost of fuel, the cost of food in the market, transportation costs, security challenges, hunger, malnutrition, and all this put together. It calls for improvements in staff and workers' welfare. See, when people talk about workers' welfare, it's not just a statement or a story. It's about prioritizing even your security. A well-fed man is you have taken off a large part of crimes from him. Because your stomach is full, you're thinking about going to rob a bank or going to steal,
So it's only an hungry man that thinks about
Not necessarily. There are some well-fed people that still steal. But if you look at it generally, when you have taken off people from poverty and you have occupied them usefully, the space and chance and opportunity for them to involve in crimes is minimal. So you can see that even in developed countries, they have a lot of people that are bad elements, but the system has been structured in a way that people are given opportunities to harness their talents and their potentials and to express themselves and to be usefully and gainfully employed, contributing to the development of the society with their talents and their skills. So you can imagine that someone who works, for example, in the United States, and he has 2 jobs. He goes in the morning for his first job, in the evening for what time does he have to go to be thinking about his shop to go and rob? His time is already usefully spent, productively used. So the welfare of workers in Nigeria is very, very important.
Looking at and talking about the NLC not doing enough and they should actually do more. The people do not really trust the labor anymore. A lot of people don't trust the labor union. Even the workers themselves, a lot of them do not really trust these people who are representing them. So in a situation, it's just like Nigerians and Nigerian government. Nigerians do not trust the government. Even if the government comes out with a policy that is supposed to make Nigerians happy, they feel like something is fishy and somebody is trying to siphon some funds here and there. So how will the NLC move forward? How will the NLC do more now when even the people do not even trust them anymore?
Trust is earned. It's not given freely. You don't just meet someone and tell the person to trust you. People say a lot, trust me, I'll do this. Actions speak louder than words. If you want someone to trust you, your action will be a proof. The ID card of trust is action. And when you look at our society, there is this gap, mistrust between the governed and the governments, between the leaders and the led, between you talk about the NLC, the leadership of the NLC, or the labor leaders and the citizens of the country. Over time, people have seen, when you do something repeatedly, and then you break trust, you don't fulfill promises, you don't keep your promises, you lose trust. It's a natural law. It's something that happens naturally. You can even take it to the home, to the family. A husband that keeps telling his wife, I'm going to give you money for your hair.
Is this one of the actions that would make the people, that's the workers now, get to trust labor more? Remember, this is a plus for the workers.
It will take much more than that, because when people have lived under a mistrust system and have been deprived and have been denied and have been deprived of responsible actions that will take them, that will look at their needs, that will attend to their needs and answers to their questions. Over time, they've been deprived of these answers. It will take a lot to build the trust in our society. It will take a lot. And when the leaders, or those people, the labor leaders, realize that there is more, to whom more is given, more is expected, to build that trust. And it falls back on leadership as well. If you want to be a very good leader, or you want to be a leader that wants to make a difference, you have to build trust in the system. Building trust in a system will help to win the people. Not like you are completely perfect, or everything you say is going to be perfect. No, but the people will have some confidence. You will build confidence in the system that yes, this person can deliver. He might not deliver to the fullest, but he's going to try, right? So that's
all right. Thank you so much for